you to help save the sight of children like Nananga. We need you to help save them from the torture of trachoma.
Babes, how was roaming in Italy?
Oh, stunning. Didn't cost me a penny.
What, the new fella paid?
No, hun. Labara. No roaming fees.
Bet the signal was awful.
Full bars, hun.
Well, you get what you pay for.
Nah. Big mobile networks charge you more for what's really the same thing. You and the hubby need a better package, babe.
Labara, the smarter mobile network.
Think they can sort his package in Turkey?
Now, here's a big offer worth checking out. In People's Postcode Lottery's October draws, there's a share of £23.2 million to be won.
And to celebrate our brand new TV game show, Win-Win, we're offering new players the first month free when you sign up. For your first month's free entry, sign up before midnight on the 30th of September.
A share of £23.2 million could be yours, but only if your door is in the draw.
If you have cancer, you may feel overwhelmed with worries.
Will I lose my hair?
How bad will my side effects be?
How do I cope with waiting?
What happens now?
Whatever your cancer worries, Macmillan is here for you. Whether you're anxious about side effects, waiting for test results or appointments, or just need someone to listen, don't struggle alone. Whatever you need to ask, we're here for you 7 days a week. Call Macmillan for free now on 0808 258 8000.
This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV 24/7.
A very good afternoon. You're watching NDTV World Report. Let's begin with our top story, and that's US tariffs at 50% have taken effect on many Indian products starting at 9:30 this morning Indian Standard Time, doubling on the existing 25% duty as President Donald Trump sought to punish New Delhi for buying Russian oil. Trump has raised pressure on India over the energy purchases, a key source of revenue for Moscow's war in Ukraine as part of a campaign to end the conflict. But tariff exemptions remain for sectors that could be hit separately, such as pharmaceuticals and computer chips. As punitive measures kicked in, Trump took to his social media site Social and posted a picture of himself with an oil barrel. The image that went on to read, "America first and America is back." While this is the former Foreign Secretary H1-b has said that India is working to minimize the impact and that there's an opportunity to divert exports. Which are these countries, which are these markets that India should be looking at? First, listening to what H1-b had to say.
Will be at the receiving end of 50% custom duties for goods exported into the United States from India. These would impact mainly on labor-intensive products from India. We are working on minimizing the impact. One of the ways, of course, is to find alternative markets. We are looking, we have free trade agreements with Australia, UAE, UK, a free trade agreement with the European Union. This means that we can access different markets and we would have the opportunity to divert some of our exports in that direction. I believe that we have the most comprehensive, multifaceted relationship with the United States, the one that we have more than any other country.
Exerting his strength and his power, and this is very clearly a power move. I think that this will definitely set back relations between the two countries, which has taken so many decades to rebuild, especially since the Pokhran explosion and especially since just a lot of the frosty relations that surfaced throughout the Cold War. And at this critical juncture in time where we saw so many moves being made with the G20 summit, with former President Biden's visit to India, I think that it's pretty tragic that we're now being set backwards with this tariff coming in, and it's going to impact businesses.
Exporters had come up with was the fact that they were banking on the China plus one strategy and for India to benefit from that. But what has happened instead is that orders are being taken away from India and being fed into countries like Bangladesh, like Vietnam, Indonesia, Philippines, Cambodia. All of these are manufacturing economies that India competes with. And when you have a tariff disadvantage against these companies, against these countries, then there's a very, very slight chance of you surviving. And that is especially given that India has a lot of is home to a lot of labor-intensive sectors. You have a lot of companies in the US that tend to source from India because labor is cheaper back here. But with these tariffs coming in, that price advantage that US buyers used to get from India, that will stop, and that has stopped, and that has resulted in the sort of order standstill that we've seen, especially in sectors like textiles, especially in gems and jewelry, in organic chemicals, in shrimp. That is also a major export product that India does to the US is shrimps, and that is something that is threatened by these 50% tariffs.
I think let's reflect on the fact that this is a real low in the India-US strategic partnership. On the one hand, you've got these 2+2 talks at the level of bureaucrats continue. These are to ensure that the military relationship and the foreign relationship continues. It remains on track. But while that may be the case, if you've got at 9:31 a.m., in other words, about half an hour back, these tariffs, the additional 25% coming into play against India, which has now been slapped by 50% tariffs by one of our closest partners, then it really does raise questions on just where the relationship stands presently. And it is a new low. I don't think there's any doubt about it. It came as an incredible surprise to India at a time when we were about to close, it appears, a trade deal with the United States, to suddenly get this punishment, as it were, for our continued import of Russian oil, something which the US earlier on never really objected to. That's what New Delhi says. That's something which is a matter of huge concern. Now, whether that relationship can be righted or not, that's unclear. But I think it's all part of a geostrategic upheaval, a churn that we are now seeing. The Prime Minister is going to be in China in the next couple of days. China really coming in now, talking about that economic relationship between the two countries, looking to fill that vacuum, which in a sense exists as a result of America and how they've treated us of late. America needs India as a bulwark against China. But if they aren't nice with us and if the relationship is going south, then where does that premise of that equation from a US standpoint actually stand? So these are larger questions. They go beyond, obviously, the financial hit that certain sectors of our economy are going to take to a larger question on the relationship. This also comes at a time when there are leading Western newspapers which are saying that, according to their sources, the Prime Minister has not taken calls from Donald Trump in the recent past. So are the two leaders who have been very close friends at one level, now they're not talking to each other. I mean, these are things that one needs to reflect on at a period of great uncertainty in the relationship between America and India.
Well, moving on, the Trump administration is planning a major overhaul of the United States H1-b visa and a green card system, signaling a shift towards wage-based immigration and merit-driven selection. The U.S. Commerce Secretary has gone on to say that he's involved in the process. This is the proposed reforms, which aim to replace the current lottery-based system with a more selective model. He went on to speak in an interview to Fox News that they're going to change the green card. We give green cards, the average American that goes on to make about $75,000 a year, but the average green card holder makes only about $66,000 a year. So therefore, questioning why we're really doing this in the first place. Let's listen in to that interview.
I'm involved in changing the H1-b program, right? We're going to change that program because that's terrible, right? We're going to change the green card. You know, we give green cards. The average American makes $75,000 a year, and the average green card recipient, $66,000. So we're taking the bottom quartile. Right. Like, why are we doing that? That's why Donald Trump is going to change it. That's the gold card that's coming. And that's we're going to start picking the best people to come into this country. It's time for that to change.
Now, meanwhile, when we talk about India, that is close to signing a $1 billion deal with US firm GE for the supply of 113 more GE engines for the light combat aircraft Tejas. Now the negotiations are well on way, and as far as the deal is expected, that's expected to be sealed by next month. That is what we're hearing according to our sources. Now, according to reports, US and Russian government officials have discussed several energy deals on the sidelines of negotiations this month that sought to achieve peace in Ukraine. These deals were put forward as incentives to encourage the Kremlin to agree to peace in Ukraine and for Washington to ease sanctions on Russia. And we also have Israeli protesters on Tuesday blocking highways and clamored for a ceasefire that would free hostages still in Gaza, even as Israeli leaders move forward with plans for an offensive into Gaza City they argue is needed in order to defeat Hamas. Thousands marched in Tel Aviv on Tuesday, calling for that deal to bring back the remaining hostages still being held in Gaza and to put an end to this war.
יש הצעה לעסקה על השולחן שחמאס כבר אמר לה כן. האמריקאים רוצים שהחטופים יחזרו. הרמטכ"ל אומר שחייבים ללכת עכשיו לעסקה. העם, אתם, כל אחד מכם, כאן בכיכר, במהלך היום בצמתים, בכל מקום במספרים אדירים, כולם צועקים איתנו, כולם רוצים את החטופים בבית.
These of explosions were seen over the Gaza skyline in the early hours of Wednesday morning as Israel moves forward with plans for an offensive into Gaza City. The Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, met with the security cabinet. This took place on the evening of Tuesday, but revealed that little of what transpired when he appeared later at that event in Jerusalem. Now, it is Netanyahu who has said that Israel will launch its Gaza City offensive while simultaneously pursuing a ceasefire, though Israel has yet to send that negotiating team to discuss a proposal on the table. He has said that the offensive is the best way to weaken Hamas and return hostages. But the families of the hostages and their supporters have been pushing back, with thousands taking to the streets to set tires ablaze, block highways, and demand a ceasefire. SpaceX Starship mega rocket roared into the skies on Tuesday on its 10th test flight following a string of explosive failures that cast doubt about its ability to realize Elon Musk's vision of colonizing Mars, and that is the dream that Elon Musk has been harboring. Now, this is, of course, putting doubts and fears as far as SpaceX Starship mega rocket that roared into the skies as far as its test flight is concerned following that string of explosive failures. South Korea and the United States militaries on Wednesday held a joint training exercise. This took place in South Korea's capital as part of the annual Freedom Shield combined exercise. The drill shows South Korean and American military personnel practicing crossing wet gaps. Troops from South Korean Army's 7th Engineer Brigade and the U.S. 2nd Infantry Division, as well as South Korea-U.S. Combined Division's 11th Engineer Battalion, took part in those drills.
Today's training highlights the U.S.-ROCA relationship and the strengthening of our alliance. This wet gap crossing is one of the most complex engineering missions we do. And we've done it today in a realistic combat environment. I appreciate my partners with the ROCA, the 7th Engineer Brigade, for coming out here, partnering with us.
Now, a Buddhist monk famed for establishing a hospital in Thailand for people with HIV and AIDS was arrested on Tuesday over allegations of misusing donations for the project. Well, the man has been arrested on suspicion of embezzlement as well as money laundering. A second person who served as a fundraiser for the project was also detained. Now, in footage provided by the Thailand Central Investigation Bureau, both suspects were shown during their arrest with their faces blurred.
เบื้องต้นพระอลงกฎนะครับให้ความร่วมมือในการให้ข้อมูลหลายเรื่องที่เราเป็นข้อสงสัยนะครับ ตอนนี้ทิศอลงกฎก็กลายเป็นทิศและศึกแล้วนะครับก็ยินดีเข้าสู่ขบวนการนะครับยอมลาสิกขานะครับโดยไม่มีการบังคับขู่เข็นนะครับท่านแยกระหว่างความพระธรรมวินัยกับเรื่องกฎหมายบ้านเมือง
Now, prominent Hong Kong democracy activist and newspaper founder Jimmy Lai has arrived in a court on Wednesday. Now, Jimmy arrived for the final arguments of that high-profile trial, which has lasted over 150 days. He, at 77, is defending against charges of colluding with foreign forces in order to endanger national security and conspiring with others to issue these are publications that he faces up to life in prison if convicted under the national security law imposed by Beijing following anti-government protests in 2019. Foreign governments and political observers are closely monitoring the outcome, which is widely seen as a barometer of the city's judicial independence and press freedom as well. It's Katrina, the hurricane that is the deadliest flood event in the United States history. We're talking about in the past 25 years. But on the 29th of August, it will be the 20 years since the disaster. The storm has that crashed into the Gulf Coast and devastated coastal Mississippi and New Orleans, where people had to be rescued by boat and by helicopters from rooftops. The dangers were magnified when water breached flood walls and also submerging about 80% of New Orleans. A zoo in Richmond in Virginia is celebrating the birth of 6 cheetah cubs. Now 3 months old and able to be seen at the zoo's public cheetah habitat, the cubs, 3 males and 3 females, spent their first 3 months at the Metro Richmond Zoo, receiving care privately at the zoo's Cheetah Conservation Center before being moved to the public habitat. Now, the video that you can see shows the cubs engaging in playful behavior together as their mother watches over them and gets playfully involved at times as well. Now, this is the Richmond Zoo that says that the cheetahs face a range of threats as far as the wild is concerned, and which is why the population has declined by 93% over the last 120 years. It also says that cheetahs are Africa's most endangered big cats. And with that, we're slipping into a short break. Back with a whole lot more on the other side. You don't want to go anywhere.
Some people think life slows down in your 50s, but I'm just getting started. And I don't want my lot to have to worry about funeral costs. Let them spend their money on nicer things. So I decided to learn more about over 50s life insurance from Cover Today. They're the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period. Unlike other insurers who could make you wait up to 2 years, with Cover Today, you're fully covered from day one. And you're covered for the whole of your life. Unlike other things in life, the price never goes up. Go online or talk to their friendly UK team in just one phone call. Cover Today are the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period. And no annoying trips to the doctors either.
Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card.
Now I'm with Cover Today, I can get on with something much more interesting.
To get a free life insurance quote, call our friendly UK team on 0800 470 4474 or visit covertoday.co.uk.
Life's full of times like this. Oh yeah. The gaps between the good stuff. Okay. Like killing time in waiting rooms. It's not long until you've had enough. David, it's time for some tombola. Bingo 90. While your car gets made all shiny. Deal or no deal's exciting. So your ready meal is piping. Grounded on the runway. Open for fun. Paddling on your staycay. Open for fun. Yeah. Well done.
With Post Office Over 50s life cover, enjoy peace of mind knowing your family will receive a guaranteed payout when you're gone. UK resident 50 to 80, you're guaranteed acceptance. No health checks and from just £1.15 a week. Plus free 24/7 GP access with the health and wellbeing benefit. Purchase and receive a £125 gift card for amazon.co.uk, Tesco or M&S. Visit postoffice.co.uk/over 50s.
Welcome back. Let's get you the latest, and this is in regard to the Federal Reserve Governor. Lisa Cook will file a lawsuit to prevent President Donald Trump from firing her, kicking off what could be a protracted legal fight over White House's effort to shape U.S. monetary policy. Iga Swiatek and Jannik Sinner showed their championship pedigree at the US Open on Tuesday with commanding displays as far as the stadium, walloping their first round opponents on the third day of the first round action at the newly expanded major. The Wimbledon champion arrived in pristine form after capturing the title as far as Cincinnati is concerned, and also made a quick work as far as Emiliana Aragano is concerned, 6-1, 6-2 in just an hour, never facing a break point. Is Austin Butler, Bad Bunny, along with others unleashing chaos as far as the New York premiere of their latest stealing. The glitz, the glamour, the mayhem were all on display on the red carpet. Butler spoke of the journey and working with the cast and crew.
Darren's a filmmaker that is constantly challenging himself, and for me, I feel like he's subverted my expectations with his films in the past. You know, when you look at Requiem for a Dream, and then look at a movie like The Fountain, and then watch The Wrestler, and I mean, he's just constantly challenging himself, you know, and so I read the novel before I read the script, and I also had a lot of conversations with Darren about where he was right now, and he wanted to make he kept calling it a fun film, but I do think that it has more, it's got more layers underneath than just purely that. But yeah, I don't know, I love him as a filmmaker.
And Jeremy Allen White grew up listening to Bruce Springsteen. He doesn't even remember a time in his life when he wasn't aware of his music. But singing songs, it wasn't until White began preparing to play the rock and roll legend. This is Springsteen, Deliver Me from Nowhere, that he even tried.
I don't know. You know, it's about a very specific time in Bruce's life. It's the period in which he just kind of finished the River Tour, and he's locked up in Colts Neck, and he's writing Nebraska. So it's him, you know, by himself there for a lot of the time. It's about the writing process and the creative process. We finished it in January. Bruce was there a lot of the time. John Landau, his manager, and was there a lot of the time, and they seem happy, and that makes me happy, and yeah.
Well, it was a little Nas X that was charged on Monday with 4 felonies after police say that he charged at them when they confronted him for walking naked down a street in Los Angeles last week. The musician, whose legal name is Montero Lamar Hill, pleaded not guilty in a court appearance to 3 counts of battery with injury on a police officer and 1 count of resisting an executive officer. The district attorney's office went on to say the charges were far more serious than initial reports of what he was actually being investigated for. As far as that misdemeanor is concerned, with convictions, the counts could collectively bring a sentence of more than 10 years in prison for the singer and the rapper, whose Old Town Road was one of the biggest hit singles in history. Now, your English teacher and your gym teacher are getting married, and that is how, well, Taylor Swift has made the announcement of her engagement with that one-liner and 5 pictures signing off that firecracker emoji. Taylor there announcing her engagement to her American football player, now of course, her boyfriend of 2 years, who is now her fiance. The pop emergency has resonated with fans in this extraordinary way. Well, this is Taylor Swift. That is going to be the wedding of the century that's going to be taking place this year.
Swifties have more than just an album to celebrate this year. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce dropped the big news with a joint Instagram post and the cheeky caption, "Your English teacher and your gym teacher are getting married. Class is officially in session and we are living for this syllabus." Their love story started in 2023, when Travis tried to pass Taylor a friendship bracelet with his number on it at an Era store show. It was a fumble then, but clearly he made the ultimate touchdown. Remember this iconic Super Bowl kiss? That was the internet's soft launch for Trailer. From stadium PTA to surprise SNL cameos and jet-setting across continents, these two have been serving major power couple energy. And now, after months of sparks flying louder than a halftime show, the wedding bells are officially ringing. No word yet on the date, but one thing's for sure, this is one era's tour that's going to end with wedding vows. So Swifties, mark your calendars, or at least start making those friendship bracelets. Because Taylor Swift just went from singing about the one to saying he's the one. Bureau Report, NDTV.
Well, rise and shine, because America's pop queen just dropped the biggest personal headline of the year. And yes, even ESPN had to push an alert for this one. Taylor Swift, billionaire record breaker and queen of Easter eggs, is now engaged to NFL superstar Travis Kelce. And let's just say, Instagram didn't survive, group chats lit up, and somewhere in Ohio, a politician tied to it turned it into a campaign moment. Classic. But don't be fooled, this wasn't just another celeb post with heart emojis. This was peak Swift strategy. The dress she wore, a $400 Ralph Lauren sundress, sold out in 20 minutes. That Cartier watch, nearly 30 grand. And that engagement ring, a handcrafted antique diamond beast, reportedly worth 4.5 crore rupees, designed by a New York jeweler who now probably has a 6-month wait list. Even Donald Trump had something to say. He said, "I wish them luck." This is actually the same guy she openly campaigned against in 2024. That's how deep the cultural reach goes. Some actually argue that Taylor Swift is now so powerful, she's a bipartisan moment. From pizza brands to the Empire State Building, Krispy Kreme to Paddington Bear, everyone jumped on the Swift-Kelce wedding bandwagon. Free donuts were handed out. And here's where it gets interesting too. This isn't just romance, it's a power merger. She's the biggest music act on earth. He's an NFL legend. Together, they're the monoculture, the last one standing. Call it trailer, Travis Swift, whatever works. But they've hijacked the attention economy. Many online are also questioning, will happiness ruin the heartbreak anthems we love her for? Her music is confessional and conflict-driven. So if she's in her forever era, does that kill the drama many have built careers decoding? Well, one thing is clear. Taylor Swift knows how to drop news like a bomb. And if this engagement is the opening act, we can't wait for the wedding, we can't wait for the album, the inevitable HBO special, and probably a Grammy speech titled, "To My Gym Teacher." The love story isn't ending, it's just entered its next verse.
Magic family moments deserve the perfect setting. A stylish awning from House is the ideal addition to your outdoor space. Available in a range of colours and finishes, and with the option of integrated lighting and heating, you can enjoy your outdoor space for even longer. Now that is magic. House awnings, made for life.
How was roaming in Italy?
Oh, stunning. Didn't cost me a penny.
New fella paid?
No, hun. Labara. No roaming fees.
Labara, the smarter mobile network.
No child should suffer the torture of trachoma. But so many are in pain right now. Nananga's lashes have turned inwards. They rip and tear away at his eyes. Pomelo's sight could be gone forever. He's just 3 years old. Kofanga screams for his mother. His eyes are so infected that he can't even see her. For so many children in the world's poorest countries, trachoma is torture. It's a painful infection often spread by flies, and it's destroying children's eyesight. But it could be stopped if you help today. By calling 0800 038 4926 and giving £1 a week to Sightsavers, you can help make sure children get the treatment they desperately need. You'll help us bring them the medicines and the care that can treat infections. And that means you'll be helping to save children from the torture of trachoma and a life of blindness. Please help us reach them. Call 0800 038 4926. Text C13 to 82727 or go online and give